Well, hello, welcome back to another episode of Reality Is where words do come to life. I know I've been missing for a while, had a lot of things going on, a lot of things in life happening, but I am back. And we're going to talk about a repetitive cycle. And as of late, with election time going on, that just passed, and a lot of knuckleheads got into office, and I don't know why people feel the need to keep putting the same stupid people back in office, but they do. In the state of Illinois, there was a guy who was running for governor who wanted to void women's right. I believe in Atlanta, um, the black lady that was running, I can't think of her name off the top of my head. Stacey Abrams was running, and nobody felt the need to put her in office. But why do we constantly repeat the cycle of putting stupid people back in the seat? We have the Supreme Court who overturned Roe versus Wade, and it seems like instead of our government and our elected officials rolling us forward, they're repeating a repetitive, stupid cycle of rolling us backwards and try to put us back where we came from and cage us up and lock us down. And I don't understand how we can't see what is happening. As of late, saw that um, the guy took over Twitter, and now Twitter has become a place of non trust. And a lot of people are jumping ship because Elon Musk did not think. See, money is not everything. It provides you a life to live comfortably, but it does not always allow you to think logically. And you have to respect people's right. You have to respect people's privacy, and no social media outlet should be allowed to be used for stupid things. And I think when some people get too much money, they become really dumb. Point blank. Period. Just to think about allowing number 45 back on Twitter is ridiculous. So it's like a repetitive cycle of craziness. And we never learn from the error of our ways. We never learn from our mistakes. We think money is the thing that can fix everything. And Republican Party think they're above and beyond um, being fined or being found guilty in their actions. It's just a constant repetitive cycle that white is always right. It's a repetitive cycle. And black and brown, as we see constantly, still is getting the short end of the stick. This country don't feel like some black and brown people should hold certain positions. They just don't want to follow because of the color of their skin, not because of their qualification, but we're still basing things on the color of people's skin. And I constantly say, if you rip the outer layer off, then everybody looks the same. Same color veins, same color blood, same color muscles and tissues, just different shapes and sizes, but we are still the same. So it's repetitive cycle of not wanting to break the cycle and justifying what's being done. Now we're in the race for mayor in the state of Illinois, especially Chicago. Crime is high. It's ridiculously high. When you find individuals being stuck up and brought over daylight, carjacked, you can't go to the grocery store. You can't get out your car in your garage. You can't walk down the street carrying bags. You can't go to the gas station. You can't even sit in your living room and watch TV. To hear that a lady was shot through her house while lying in her bed sleep, and to know that elected officials that sitting in seats already and trying to run for the office of mayor don't care. See, you can have all the money in the world, like Willie Wilson has all the money, but he don't have the skill set to be a mayor. You may have a skill set to be a businessman, but because you have the skill set to be a businessman does not give you the qualification to be a mayor. So these repetitive cycles that we constantly allow, we see people in seats and we see people in office and they don't do nothing in the seat that they're sitting in, but still we feel it's okay to allow them to transition from that seat to another seat. So let's go down the line. Um, Brandon Johnson. Brandon Johnson just ran for commissioner. Now, it is my understanding in the Cook County Jail, the commissioners from various districts and various sections are responsible for the procurement portion of what goes in Cook County Jail. If you are not able to make changes with that, if you are not able to make sure programs are in place, if you are not able to shift the direction of the district that you're commissioner over and make a great impact. So you can show up at little barbecues, you can show up at birthday parties, you can show up at block club meetings, does not mean that you're an effective person in the seat that you're sitting in. And for the Chicago Board of Education to think that you will make a good mayor and then they make sure they back you for commissioner and now they turn around and backing you for mayor, then it questions the Chicago board head. Where is your head? And when it come down to the kids value and how they can measure up against other countries and even the suburbs. So again, repetitive cycle. See, y'all like to constantly put people in seats who you know because you have a relationship with them and you feel like you will have a better leverage if you stick behind that person. But you never think about what happens if that person don't get that seat and the person that you should have supported, you didn't. Now you're back to square one. Now you're scrapping and you're scraping. See, y'all don't think about outside the box. You think about the relationship that you're comfortable with, but you don't think about the needs of the kids, what they need in the schools, and what they are not getting presently with this administration. So let's be honest. So the cycle is constantly being repetitive, it's being repeated over and over again. The people that you choose that you think is good is not good people to choose, and your record has proven that. But yet and still, y'all keep following the same path, and you're fearful of stepping outside the box. Now, let's move on down to Cam Buckner. Nobody actually knew Cam Buckner because I didn't know who Cam Buckner was as a state representative. It is amazing to me that individuals hold seats that's so prominent and supposed to have such impact in different areas where they're representing, but nobody really know who you are. And the first thing that people recognize is your two DUIs. Now, what have you really done in your seat besides for the people that you know that help you get in that seat? See, when you can take care of people that are not in the seat of authority, who have not worked with you, and those people who are less fortunate and don't have that relationship with you can step up and say, you done this and you done that, then maybe, just maybe, they may qualify you to be a candidate to be a mayor. But here is my question. You got your Sophia Kings, you got your Lopez, and all of a sudden, all of these LGBTQ people are coming from out the woodwork and they decide they want to be mayor. But why? What is the real reason why you want to be mayor? Do you want to be mayor to push your agenda forward? Or are you pushing to be mayor to represent everybody? Because as of late, and I hope you all don't take this person, but it's facts, you all push your agenda. You don't care about nobody else but the LGBTQ, XYZ, whoever y'all want to be, your agenda. Everything that you all do is surrounded by your needs, your wants, and your desires. So you are not diverse enough to be a mayor of a city with people from multiple cultures. And in listening and reading different um, papers that you present to some of the candidates and your questions, none of those questions depicts diversity. All of those questions cares and concerns about your needs. You talk about men mistreated, mishandled, um, being hate crime. Well, let me explain something to you from a black woman to the LGBTQ. We've been dealing with this shit for over 400 years. Welcome to our world. And we haven't gotten anything, not one thing. So, what makes your issue more important than ours? We've been through it. Hung on trees, dogs sick on us, water holes spit on, and called that ugly N word. So you think you're dealing with something? Try standing in these shoes and understand what we have dealt with. Our history is long and what we have dealt with. You just starting to feel the impact and you haven't felt it like we have felt it. So you talking about some lives being snatched. We done had a whole lot of our lives being snatched. Look at your George Floyd. Look at your Breonna Taylors, Fidel Castillo. Should I run the list? Your Emmett Till. Should I run the list? So what you're talking about is minor compared to what our race has dealt with. Yeah. And until you all can come across the board and be fair with everybody, I don't think you would be a Bet Lopez and whoever the other gentleman that jumped in would be a fair candidate to be a mayor. Now let's go down to Jamal Green because he was on the panel not too long ago. You have a long criminal background, and I'm not saying that you can't change, but who is the person behind you that's pushing you to want to be mayor? And why are they pushing you when you know you are not skilled, neither are you qualified to be in that seat? And what are you bringing to the table that you can offer that will change the dynamics of what the city of Chicago is dealing with right now? See, I've checked out every last one of your website, every last one, and none of you have a solid foundation or a firm plan to change. Most of your responses is to put it back on somebody else. Let's put this back into the school system. Let's create a charter system. Let's put it back in the alderman's lap. Let's put it back into the community lap. No, no, we're not doing that. We're not. What is your plan? And if we're going to vote and we're going to put somebody in office, then we need to be voting for somebody who has a plan. Now, let me explain something to you clearly. I am not one who support people just to support them. I support what they stand for. There is one person, and I don't give my stamp of approval often, but this person I have spoken with, this person I have interviewed, this person I have talked to has a solid plan. If we want the city of Chicago and our community, our neighborhoods to be better, Willie Wilson ain't it. Cam Buckley ain't it. Brandon Johnson ain't it. Lopez ain't it. Sophia King ain't it. And whoever the rest of them that's on the list. The guy from the school. I can see his face. Paul Valance. He ain't it. Check his history, what he did when he was over the public schools. Look up Barbara Bird Bennett. Look her up. Stop going to these individuals and voting, just voting blindly. Your children's life is at stake. Your life is at stake. Your community's life is at stake. The health and the wellness of the city of Chicago is at stake. And Lori Lightfoot ain't it neither. Not at all. Not at all. And we need to stop putting people in office without holding them accountable and holding their feet to the fire. And even with the one that I support, if he can't do what he needs to do, then I say when his term is up, evict his ass out the seat too. No, I don't discriminate for nobody. The truth is the truth. And right now, you have these aldermen that's not doing anything, repetitive cycle, but yet and still we find it in our hearts to keep putting their asses back in the seat. You got a state's attorney that have people sitting in Cook County Jail going on 5 years and has not done nothing with the cases. Nothing runs that long. It takes nobody that long to solve a case. Nothing. There is something that's wrong when you take 5 years, and there's something wrong with our judicial system that allow the judges. Timothy Evans, I hold you accountable too. Governor Pritzker, you got back in office, don't mean your ass is off the ledge neither. Anybody who holds a seat in office and y'all constantly repeat this repetitive cycle, you are just as guilty. Tom Dart, you are not off because you got back in. You're not. We need some changes, and we need some changes like yesterday. Stop repeating the cycle of the same bullshit that y'all been doing for the last 7, 8, 9, and 10 years. It's time out. And we, as constituents, we who have the power in our vote, should let them know. And even if you voted to put their asses in office, you should call them, you should email them, and you should write them and make sure that they hold up their end of the bargain when they get on that TV and they make these promises to you, the registered voter. You are owed that. Remember, they are your employee, and we, the registered voters, are the employer. It's time to break the repetitive cycle. That's from the White House all the way down, from the Democrats to the Republicans. Enough is enough, and it's time to break the cycle. Understand me when I say I'm going to be posting more videos.